Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ISCA broadcast here for the ButtKicker Cup and Super Cup series here on a Thursday night. Here we are joined in the booth, of course, as always, by Big Al, and we are here for the Napa 280 laps at the tricky Triangle Pocono, and it is going to definitely be tricky. I've actually turned a few laps out here on this racetrack just to see what it was like yesterday, and found out that this car is much different than the Gen 6 whenever we were here last, I do believe, season in that Gen 6 car. Very much you have to do a lot more braking to get around this racetrack, surprisingly. So, going to be kind of a hybrid, if you will, of almost like a road course and a super speedway at the same time. But it's definitely going to be very exciting as we tackle this 2.5-mile racetrack. Mr. Big Al, how are you doing this evening, my friend?
Hey, Big Al's doing just fine, Brian. Man, I'm a little groggy here. You done drug me from the magic mile to the tricky triangle, man. I don't even know what's going on anymore. But I tell you what, it's going to be a long, arduous night here as these guys are definitely going to have the work cut out for them, try to navigate around this here track. You can count on that.
Yeah, definitely going to be tricky indeed, and very difficult to, I think, make passes stick here at this place. Especially, you're going to be able to make maybe a pass. Passing zone is probably going to be out of three. I know that's going to be probably the most important corner of this racetrack, just considering it leads to the longest straightaway in NASCAR.
Yeah, absolutely. The draft is going to be in full effect here as well. But these guys are going to have their hands full because, like you mentioned earlier, we're back here with this Gen 7 car, and it does lend itself to shifting. So that is definitely going to make it a little bit trickier here, as you got quite a bit more options than you did with this predecessor.
Yeah, I have heard of a lot of people downshifting into turn one for sure, because that is the one it's the slowest corner on this racetrack. You're definitely going to be using the most brake through there. But what I've seen, a lot of guys are using brake all over this racetrack, so would not be surprised to see that. Of course, qualifying is underway right now.
Yeah,
Checking out,
definitely. Sorry.
I was just saying, checking out the race facts here for tonight's race of the Napa 200. 80 laps on the docket. Stages are 15 and 30, so we're going to have 5 tire sets, 4 down in the pits. Fuel window is 30 laps, so you can probably make it through both of those stages without having to fuel up, but you're definitely going to end up having to fuel up in that final stage. I'm not sure what we're going to see here when it comes to cautions or not. It's so tricky to pass here, and a lot of guys are going to get frustrated. So we could end up seeing some cautions. This is a wide racing surface, though, so curious what we're going to see there, Big Al.
It's going to be interesting, especially with the new damage model. I also want to give a shout out to Nicholas Vroman. He is going to be making his debut here tonight in this Thursday night league. As well, we do have Derek Heitman, I believe. He is moving over from the Saturday league to the Thursday league. And also, just for a one time only, looks like we're going to have Jose Acosta joining us here tonight.
That is very interesting. We usually see him on Saturdays, so glad to see him making the transition over here to race with us here on these Thursdays. And we're actually watching Nicholas Roman right now. He's sitting second on the board as we only have a little bit over a minute in qualifying remaining. But a big shout out to Napa for being on board here in ButtKicker tonight. Definitely excited to see this race, as I do believe this is probably the first time we've been to Pocono this week. For me, at least, of course, I've been on the racetrack and practiced a little bit, but this is going to be the first time I've actually seen a race here with all the cars going. And do we have a lot of them? And I do believe it's almost 30 cars are going to be attempting tonight's to race. And one thing about it with the ISCA that we might see in other series that you hear me and Big Al's beautiful voices on, they do not have fast repairs here tonight. So if we see anybody get any damage, it's probably going to be a race ender, just considering, just like I said earlier, this is kind of like almost like a road course. You're going to use some road course skills here at this track, but it's also very fast, very super speedway like on that front stretch. And if you get damage, that's probably going to be a race ender.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the damage is going to be the tell of the tape. These drivers are definitely going to have to be very smart and cognizant as they go through the stages. But just look at that. Qualifying is about to come to an end. With that, Brian, why don't we just take a quick step away and pay honors to our nation?
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we have the grid set here for the Napa 200 here at Pocono. And I do believe Clayton Hoffman going to be grabbing the pole. He was the fastest in practice. Definitely looking quick out there with a 53.478. That is a very fast lap. Nicholas Vroman going to be starting here in second place. Lucas Abreu in third. Josh Schaffner in fourth place. Joey Preby in fifth. Andrew Griesbaum in sixth place. JC Nobrega in seventh place with eighth place Brian Johnson. Ninth place is going to be Matt DeCiani, and rounding out our top 10, Chris D. Johnson.
That's going to put Austin Story in 11th with Wayne Grossi beside him in 12th. Joseph Lester comes on in 13th with Derek Heitman beside him in 14th. That's going to put Greg Wachinski there in 15th with Carl Dobson alongside him in 16th. Mark Paget in 17th with Mark Sanchez on the outside in 18th. Kenny Powell in 19th. And Jeff Barnes round out our top 20.
21st is going to be Randy Drumhiller. 22nd going to be Jeffrey Sousa. 23rd, Thomas O'Hara. 24th, John Mullins. 25th, Jose Acosta. Usually see him on Saturdays. 26th, Dan the Rabbit. 27th is Paul Olson. 27th, or 28th, I should say, Derek Jacobs. And rounding out our 29 car field, Andrew Layton.
Yeah, wow, that's right. 29 cars scheduled to go racing here. But I'm going to tell you what, it won't really take a whole lot to whittle this field down. And these guys are going to have to definitely try to make sure that they stay clean and clear as long as they can. It's going to be interesting to watch that first run going into turn one there, Brian, because I think that will be our first absolute chance at a little bit of a stack up as drivers are going to be jockeying for position here, because track position is going to be one of the things that's going to be key here as we get ready to go racing here. Be pulling off the pace car pretty soon.
No, I think you're 100% right. Turn one's going to be probably deadly, considering we're going to see guys go 3, maybe even 4 wide through there. And could see some major crashes there in the beginning. Hopefully we don't.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see some 3 and 4 wide racing here. We can definitely count on that. And if guys are smart, you know, and they manage their equipment, that's going to be it. You're going to use that first run of, I think it's going to be 15 laps. That's where you're going to be trying to gather as much fuel and tire data as you can. And then we're going to have that second run is going to be the same. But then we're going to get into that third run, and that's where it's really going to start to come out in the wash, if you will. We'll be able to see exactly who kind of brought the right setup here in tonight's contest.
Yeah, setup's definitely going to be important, and it's also going to be how you drive the race car. This is a track that is known to eat tires for breakfast. We're going to see these guys hitting, probably high 53-second laps, low 54s at first. But as the run goes on, we're going to see them go all the way probably down even into 55s and 56s. To time, you are going to be bleeding time here. Every lap is probably going to be slower than the last. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, we've got to get the tires warmed up. But it's all going to be about how you treat your equipment here tonight.
Yeah, that first lap definitely is probably going to be pretty brutal. And I do agree with you. Guys are definitely going to have to manage their equipment, their expectations, and their tempers, because it can get a little racy here. But the key is you just got to make sure you pick your battles, because you're going to want to be around here at the end of this thing where you can actually risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, and because of how important those tires are, I think that's going to be very important with how, pit strategy and when you go down, I think is going to be increasingly important because of that. Because this is a big track, you could actually pit here and probably not lose a lap. So we'll have to wait and see if that actually kind of plays out that way. And the pace car are going to be dipping down pit road here any second here. And there he goes as they enter the Geico restart zone. The green flag out in the air for the first time here tonight in the Napa 200. Clayton Hoffman wasting no time. Still side by side, though. Already looking like a super speedway as these guys are really drafting. Josh Schaffner up on the top, giving some really good pushes there to, I do believe, Lucas Abreu. No, I'm sorry, that is the 20 of Nicholas Vroman, new to the series here.
Mark Patrick looks like he was going to duck on out the inside. Whoa! Looks like Greg Wachowski got a little bit loose there. That's definitely not good for him. Mark Paget kind of ducked out of the way there, definitely saying that he didn't want any parts of the calamity.
Yeah, I wouldn't want any parts of the calamity here. I've heard a lot of tell that they said these Gen 7s here, going through turn 2 into Gen 6, you could actually go side by side a lot easier than you can in these cars. These cars are a little bit wider. But, man, the battle for the lead is still raging on as the 20 of Nicholas Vroman trying his best to battle against Clayton Hoffman.
So far, so good, man. Looks like everybody's doing exactly what they need to do. As you see, drivers jockeying for position as we come down into turn 1.
Looks like we made it through one lap without too many issues, which is good. I mean, we were kind of worried about a stack up into turn 1, but it looks like these guys were able to handle that. And it looks like we're kind of starting to move to be single file here as Clayton Hoffman does secure that lead.
Yeah, drivers definitely doing everything they can to jockey for position right now. We still got a little too wide racing further back in the pack. Looks like Brian Johnson's going to be right beside the 78 car. These two trying to figure out exactly what they want to do. Now, you're also going to find drivers going to be trying to utilize that draft as much as possible, as well as you see Matt DeCiani there in the frame.
Oh, yeah, definitely going to be trying to use that draft as much as possible. Surprised to see Brian Johnson. He was running a little bit higher on the racetrack, was making that work for him. That is a deadly line, though. Very easy to get tight at this track, and that wall comes up so fast out of turn 3. So he's going to have to be careful with that. It looks like he's down at the bottom here, running on that yellow line. One thing I always loved about this racetrack is they have these little white squares, or rectangles, I should say, on the track that kind of give you a little bit of a reference point on when to get back onto the throttle, because that is a tricky part of this track.
Oh, yeah, those cones, man. Something so primitive just makes so much sense. Speaking of making sense, these drivers all look like they're jockeying for the same position there, which is that low line. Looks like that is preferred line going through the majority of the turns, but that will definitely start to change as these tires were a little bit. Ooh, looks like Brian Johnson is 65. Also, Joey Preby is a little bit off the pace there. That's going to cause a little bit of checkup as drivers are down scrambling for position.
Yeah, I've seen a little right side damage maybe there on that 4 car, so could he have tagged the wall? They are really close to one another here.
Yeah, looks like he was trying to. Preby got a little bit loose, Joey Preby there in the 65. It looks like the 4 was just trying to check up and get around him without the contact. Actually, surprising is as tame as it is right here. You know, drivers definitely doing a pretty good job of actually staying in line and trying to keep this thing caution-free.
Yeah, definitely doing a good job of it right now. Oh, problems for Jose Acosta.
Slams into the wall, and I'm going to tell you, that's going to bring out the first caution, and I'm going to tell you something else it's going to bring out. I think it brought some tears out in Jose Acosta's eyes because that is exactly not what he needed tonight. Looks like he just gets into the turn a little bit too hard there. Then he's going to bounce off and collect the 42 as well as the 32.
Yeah, I think that car has now seen better days. As I mentioned before, when you get contact at a place like this, you usually are limping away from it. It is not going to be a pretty sight as Jose Acosta does end up taking the tow.
Yeah, and taking the tow, that is definitely going to probably give us an indication of just how bad his car is. I guarantee you a meatball. And with this new damage model, you really don't have the option sometimes of actually drafting it or dragging it back around the corner, back to, especially at a track like Pocono. You were saying earlier the drivers can pit here and under green flag conditions and not actually worry about going a lap down. But speaking of that, Brian, yeah, that's just some severe damage there.
I saw he kind of got into Jeffrey Souza into his rear end. That's what kind of caused him to get all out of sorts. So I think Acosta was trying to, because those guys in front of him were checking up.
Yeah, look at Acosta's car.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that's not going anywhere but on the tow truck, buddy. With that, Brian, you want to step away and let's take a quick shout from our sponsors here.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, as looks like no one in the field has decided to take a trip down pit road. And no wonder. I mean, tires are definitely going to be a precious commodity here tonight in the race. Of course, we're now on lap 6. As we mentioned before, stages are going to be at, or the end of stage 1 is going to be at 15. So I do believe when we go back green, we'll probably have about 8 or 9 laps here remaining.
Yeah, man, that was just an unfortunate set of circumstances there. It looks like it involved Jeff Barnes and Carl Dobson as well as Jose Acosta. Just a little bit early in the race that you get taken out like that. So I know Jose Acosta's probably not going to get any Christmas cards there for that one.
No, probably not. But it's very difficult at a track like this where exit is it's really so important here. And if you're guys are checking up and having problems already, and it's hard to predict how slow they're going to be going. So I mean, I definitely could see that being Jose, kind of fought a little bit there, but still very easy to do. I could see anybody really making that mistake, and we probably haven't seen the last of a mistake like that here tonight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's still early on, like you're saying. We're still going to have some 8 laps to go. 6 laps to go or 7 laps to go here once this stage ends. Lights are off on the pace car. They're doubled up here, getting ready to go back to green flag racing once they go around. Now, guys got a little bit of time under their belts here. We'll see how it plays out once we get racing again.
Yeah, curious if we'll have any like wheel spin or anything like that. Just considering these guys are on 7-lap old tires right now. Didn't have a long run, but still, even 5 or 6 or 7 laps is enough of a difference that you are going to notice something on this start. So I will be curious how that's going to work, if anybody's going to maybe struggle getting that pedal down.
Well, I'll tell you what, and I'm probably wondering if Clayton Hoffman is actually going to start in first, because that's what I'm kind of sitting here thinking in my head. You're probably going to want to get the RPMs up on that launch, especially if you're up front. Guys in the middle and the back, probably not so much so. I think they're going to be wanting to start in second gear. But if he is going to start in gear, first gear, that's going to be his greatest chance to actually spin those tires there, Brian.
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot of torque when you're in first gear.
And that's something that you would have never considered on the Gen 6 cars to start in first gear. But with these cars, the power band is so much greater if you do get that launch in first gear. And we've seen that in a couple of different races as the pace car is down, getting ready to enter that Geico restart zone. And Clayton Hoffman puts the hammer down and leads this field on. And we'll see how we fare through turn 1 this time.
I think freight was probably a subconscious thing you just said, because at this track, they are like a train.
It's that freight train, man.
Already we're seeing some guys kind of wiggling around here. I see Joseph Lester back there kind of holding up Matt DeCiani. So a little bit of some accordion effects going on out here on this racetrack, as Andrew Grisbaum on the bottom here trying to challenge, I do believe, Chris Johnson. Johnson's been on the move. He's now up into the top 5, the 19 of Austin Story on the high side, trying to fight around that Purina machine.
Yeah, another mover is Josh Schaffner. He's got himself all the way up in the second place right now, somewhere that he is familiar. And I know he likes to be out front, because I'm going to tell you one thing that does make a big difference here tonight. That's going to be clean air. Clean air is going to be primo, as Matt DeCiani and Joseph Lester are battling side by side. That's going to be for 10th place. And remember, only the top 10 places carry those very, very valuable points that we're going to be talking about here a little bit later.
Yeah, that is definitely a good point. So speaking of points, but definitely some battling going on here. Derek Heitman, like you said, going to be moving to that Saturday series, probably going to be trying to leave on a high note. And he's definitely had some very impressive performances so far this season. Hate to see him go, but at least we'll get to see him still on Saturday. And going to be one extra person there for that Saturday series.
No, he's coming from the Saturday series.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My mistake.
Yeah, one less person there, one more person here. Andrew Griesbaum is now pulled up to the bumper of Mark Padgett.
Man, and look at Clayton Hoffman. He's got 8/10, almost a second of a lead, and that's almost unheard of at a track like Pocono, especially this early in the run. But he has got himself a rocket ship right now. You see Austin Story goes underneath Chris Johnson, and I do believe Nicholas Vroman has gotten back by Josh Schaffner here.
Yeah, Vroman. Vroman definitely putting down a very solid performance here, at least early on here, as he is just making his debut here on this Thursday night session. So shout out to him and way to go.
Austin Story on the inside here of Joey Preby. Preby on the top side here trying to make something happen. He does have a little bit of help. That is one thing about this track, you wouldn't expect it, but, you can have guys that are lined up behind you, and those guys are going to push you along. But sometimes you're able to push those guys a little bit too hard into the corner and maybe force them to make a mistake.
Yeah, speaking of pushing along, Kenny Powell makes his way into the top 10 for the first time tonight. He is now going to be coming up as they're getting a strong draft there is farther back in the pack from about 8th on. They are lined up and they're getting some strong runs into the turns there, and that's actually causing those tires just to kind of scream a little bit as they come through one.
It looks like a single file for the most part here as Kenny Powell goes up to the top trying to get around Griesbaum. Griesbaum is just getting locked down on the bottom, and it can't be good for him, even though the bottom is probably the preferred line around this racetrack. Kenny Powell goes really high.
Griesbaum had battled all the way back. He started back up in like the top 5 there on the restart, but he also kind of fell back a little bit as that run went on. So not sure what's going on with that, but it seems like as his tires get heated up, his car kind of slows back a little bit. As now he is still going to be trying to battle to stay in the top 10 as he's got Joseph Lester coming up on the inside. Joseph now going to go ahead and he's going to take that 10th spot. And now everybody has got to start getting their miles right, Brian, because we're almost done with stage 1.
That we are. Pit road should be closing any lap now as we still see these guys battling. You're starting to spread out a little bit more in the top 10, but we do see Joseph Lester trying to now make a pass here on Kenny Powell, both of those 9th and 10th place.
Well, if you want some stage points, it's go time, baby. You have to put the hammer down and go now. Looks like Powell's going to do the same thing as he's trying to move up to the inside of Austin Story. Story actually able to keep him at bay right now. Powell shows to the inside. Is he going to be able to close the door?
Looks like Powell drifts up the track a little bit, but does not drift up into Austin Story. Oh, Matt DeCiani pitting before the stage. Genius call here. We don't see that a lot. We always talk about that's a possibility, but it looks like Pocono going to be one of the times we're going to see it. Could be a very good call when it comes to track position. Can't wait to see how that turns out here. I'll tell you what, though, rocket ship Nicholas Vroman, he has really been starting to catch up here to Clayton Hoffman. I don't know if he's going to have enough time, but what was a second of a lead is now only, I do believe, about 6/10. Looking at lap times, Nicholas Vroman is a 10th faster than Clayton Hoffman. Joseph Lester on the inside of Austin Story. We're getting ready to go 3 wide here. Kenny Powell trying to make something happen. Oh, almost some problems here is Austin Story. Probably didn't even know Kenny Powell was there until the last second here. But it looks like, wow.
We said we were going to get you some 3 wide racing, and that's exactly what we got for you right here. Coming into one, looks like Lester's going to try to get the run down on the inside. Will he actually be able to maintain that position? As Powell way high on the racetrack, that's going to put Story coming up behind Powell. It's going to give him a little bit of a push there.
Kenny Powell going to go up to now, I do believe, 8th place. And what a move there on the top. I didn't think that was going to work. But, man, he was able to really hold that momentum up there. Looks like Nicholas Vroman maybe had some issues here because he, like I said, he was catching up to Clayton Hoffman. No longer. Now 1.2 seconds in between those guys. Maybe something happened. I wonder if he scraped the wall or something. Maybe got loose, lost some of that momentum. As he is a half a second slower now. As I do believe the white flag is out for the stage. Clayton Hoffman preparing to get into 3 and. I was getting ready to say 3 and 4, Big Al, but what turn 4 here at Pocono, right?
What turn 4? Brian's at turn 4. I think he missed the boat, ladies.
I think I'm at the wrong track. Do see J.C. Nobrega and Chris Johnson battling here. J.C. Nobrega able to take over that 4th position away.
Yep, looks like Derek Heitman is actually going to beat Brian Johnson, and he's going to move up to 10th place.
And Clayton Hoffman crosses the start-finish line as your Stage 1 winner. People definitely fanning out there going across that start-finish line for that final positions here. Let's take a quick step away, and we'll be right back. Hopefully we can talk to our Stage 1 winner. If not, we'll find someone else we can talk to.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and I do believe we definitely have a very talkative Carl Dodson up here, and glad to be able to have you. I know you were kind of involved in that accident earlier. Glad to see you out there still running. I mean, I thought the damage would have been too great for you to kind of get by, but it seems like you're still running all right. How's that car treating you?
It's treating me pretty good. My crew chief went out there with some turtle wax, buffed it out. I'm gonna see if I can't fix the rest of the damage here. Car still has speed, but it could affect the handling with the aero on this track. But, as long as I got some ice cream turtle wax on the car, I'm good.
I say, it seemed like you must have poured some of that Trust Me vodka on that and must have fixed it right up, huh?
Oh, every night I have a little bit of Trust Me vodka. When they're a good sponsor like they are, you got to partake and make sure you share when you can.
Well, doesn't mean your car doesn't look that bad. Your car definitely doesn't look that bad. What did you see in that accident? I know, kind of going back to that, I mean, it looked like a little bit of a stack up.
It looked like somebody wasn't paying attention to the bumper in front and what was going on with tight racing, and just got a little bit over their head with the throttle, not enough brake, and got in the rear of somebody, lost control, and then allowed a couple others to join in on the fun. Unfortunately, I was one of them.
Well, luckily your car seems like it's still in one piece, but knowing how this damage model is, glad that hopefully nothing underneath that chassis is too bent up and hurt. Can you tell us maybe how much optional repairs you have to take care of here?
I actually had 2 minutes of damage total. I just finished it all. Now I'm about going back out. I did 2 pit stops on the last yellow.
Well, that's one good thing about this track here, Pocono. You have these long pace laps where you're able to get a lot of damage took care of. Well, we definitely wish you the best of luck. Hopefully that car will get back in tip-top shape. Who can we shout out? for you tonight?
Got to shout out to my Triad Racing teammates. Of course, Trust Me Racing, Trust Me Vodka, and then Susan Media and Stent Analyzer. If you're not using Stent Analyzer for your setups, you're never going to progress properly.
Well, we definitely appreciate it, man, and good luck to you. Thanks for taking this impromptu interview here with us tonight.
Anytime, I'm at your disposal.
That was Carl Dodson, definitely a character, and always really, really fast. Hopefully, we'll see him get hopefully his luck turns around for this race. I have no doubt, so we'll see some other guys maybe join that damaged group of cars out there. But it does look like Matt DeCiani, we saw him, and I do believe even Jeffrey Souza, they kind of had that pit before the stage tactic, and that has nabbed them some positions. They both now lead the field here. Of course, the green flag should be coming out here anytime. As the pace car lights are out, we're going to be entering turn 2 here, so just got to go through turn 2 and 3, and we'll be going back green. And I'm curious, even though that it was definitely a good strategy, well worth it to get track position, but they are on a couple lap older tires, and as we said before, tires do matter here, even if it is just a couple laps.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely correct about that, Brian. Sorry, I was getting everything situated as we get ready to get stage 2 kicked off. Looks like the lights are off on the pace car. And once he brings us around turn 3, we will be getting this thing green, the flag racing again. Very interesting first stage. Now that the first stage is in the books, I think we're starting to see drivers' hands show a little bit as we saw Matt DeCiani and Jeffrey Souza make that very bold move to get out front there on the pace. Now, I think that's going to play into condition here because you cannot ever put a value on clean air.
100%. Another person that's taking a really big gamble here as we get ready to go back green. Joseph Lester only took 2 tires. Wow.
Yeah. I don't think 2 tires is as big of a risk. If he has speed and pace, I don't think just taking right sides is probably going to hurt him too bad here. Oh, as Mark Padgett comes down a little bit, gets a little bit close there. I think that was close the nose there on Brian Johnson.
Austin Story down on the bottom of the track, slow there on the apron. Something definitely had happened there with him. Looks like he's going to keep on rolling and probably get back up to speed, but he is going to definitely lose touch of the pack here.
Yeah, that's something that you really don't want to do at a track like this because the draft is heavy here. And if you're on that track by yourself, man, it's really hard to keep up consistent lap times, especially with what the pack is running.
I think he might have been right. Joseph Lester doesn't seem like he's struggling at all. I'll tell you somebody who is struggling. Josh Schaffner just got really loose out of turn 2 and lost some positions there. He's going to fall back to 6th.
Now, he's still a little bit loose there with that dirty air, man. Once those cars start to get buffeted around there, I don't think people understand, especially with that rear diffuser, and you got the air coming off the side. So it can really create an unstable position as Greg Wachinski now tries to drive down on the inside of the 76. Got 2 distinct lines running now.
Yeah, definitely some big battling going on right here in the mid-pack as we see some side-by-side. We saw Brian Johnson was struggling a little bit earlier. I do believe he might have hit the wall a little bit early. Looking better, though. He's now sitting there in 13th place. Kenny Powell way on the top of the track here.
Yeah, if you come out of 2 just the wrong way like that, you will have problems.
Yeah, I mean, 2 is that corner, I think, that even though it's probably not the hardest corner, it definitely is one that it's easy to overdrive that corner. And when you do overdrive it, it's so hard to correct it.
Yeah, each one of these corners here is unique in its own special kind of way. But I think we're going to see drivers do the same thing that DeCiani and Souza did. I think you're going to see guys actually try to short pit this stage so they can get that track position because so far it's looking like that gamble is paid off for the number 1 of Matt DeCiani as he still continues to lead this thing.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it very much is working for him. I mean, both of those guys got some really good pace. Like you said, clean air definitely important. And we mentioned all the unique turns here. Want to maybe give a quick little lesson here. Turn 1 is actually based off of, I do believe, a now defunct racetrack, Trenton Speedway. Turn 2 is actually based off of a corner. Turn 2, I do believe, at Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken. Turn 3 is based off the Milwaukee Mile, which is very interesting for sure. But they definitely just took a bunch of different corners from different tracks and threw them together and made this monster of a track.
And it is a monster of a track. It is a track that lends itself to all sorts of automobile racing. And I think it's going to be so exciting when these Gen 7 cars come here on Sunday, as well as the race that we're calling tonight, as well as the race that we're calling Saturday night.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, by the end of the week, if you're not tired of Pocono, but I don't think you will be tired of Pocono. I think we're going to have fun all week long covering all this racing. I'll definitely try to get as much practice as I can on Sunday. I like to try to call it with Dale Jr. and the fellas.
Yeah, absolutely. As Wayne Grassi is going to see his name for the first time tonight. He is actually doing pretty good. And you see the 32 of Jeff Barnes, that another car that was involved in that earlier skirmish with Jose Acosta, is actually back and running, and he has himself up in 15th place right now.
Yeah, I probably had to do 8 minutes of required repairs. So it looks like he's back out there. At least, you never know who's not going to make it to the end of this thing, so you might as well try to stick it out. And definitely showing a lot of heart that he's still going to be trying to turn some laps here.
Well, yeah, that's awesome for both him and Dobson that they were involved in that and actually got their cars fixed. And they're actually not just out with pace, but they're actually, in contention, man. This thing is still early on, it's anybody's races. We're just now lap 24 of 80. Looks like we've got about 5 laps remaining in this stage at the line.
See Joseph Lester and Josh Schaffner right now battling back and forth here. Joseph Lester, of course, took 2 tires. Now, I know before with the Gen 6 and probably the previous tire model, 2 tires has never worked. Usually that is like a no-no in iRacing, but it seems like it actually is a legit strategy. Joseph Lester really did not seem like he was struggling at all. It seemed like it was a good way to get some track position.
Well, we've had this tire model for a while, and one of the things that we did see early on that played into it was, I believe it was the last time we were at Talladega, we saw drivers that were taking left side tires. And now that these tires are temperature rated on each side, you definitely get a far better feel for the car, and you can actually play with different pit strategies, such as if that tire's not hot or worn, while replacing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you expect that at a track like Daytona, but I would never expect that to work at a track like Pocono. But, I mean, it definitely seems like it's working for him for sure, though.
Well, he's falling back to 6th place right now, but, this is go time in this particular stage. Looks like we've got 2 different groups running right here, but we're going to have to figure that out here pretty quick as well. The driver's going to be wanting to make their move now if they're going to want to try to pick up those very, very valuable stage points. This will be the last opportunity for those before the end of the race. So go, baby, go.
No, you're 100% right. Now is the time. Like you mentioned, we got 2 different packs kind of. Derek Heitman in 9th place. He's the start of the 2nd pack, so that means the top 8 are all up there together. Josh Schaffner, I do believe, just made a pass there on Nicholas Vroman. He's going to put himself into 4th place. And I'm surprised that Clayton's being, I don't know if Clayton's being patient with the top 2 or if he really just can't pass him and he's not used to riding in dirty air. Because, I mean, these guys look like they're getting ready to nab a stage win. Or Matt DeCiani looks like he might be able to nab a stage win just based off of some pit road trickery.
Yeah, but, like I said, you cannot discount the value of clean air. Clean air on this track is probably going to be just as valuable as any other track that we go to. As Chris Johnson was all the way up to 10th place, but now he has fallen off the pace. I think he might be trying to get him, short pit it.
That could be the case. And we were just talking to Carl Dodson under that stage 1 break. And we talked about his damage. It does not look like it's really affecting him very much. He's already back up into now 15. Oh, problems! Wayne Grassi and Chris Johnson into each other. Chris Johnson hard into the outside wall. No caution.
Still no caution as green flag racing continues. That is definitely not what Johnson wanted. I think he was falling back as an attempt to short pit it, but I think he might have just short pitted himself.
Wow, yeah, big contact there with the outside wall. And one thing about this track is, you're going so fast, and also the corners, they come up at such a sharp angle that when you do have contact, it is usually devastating on that race car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hate to see that.
Road is closed. Yeah, I mean, whatever strategy he would have had is definitely now gone. But hey, who knows? We might actually be able to dial him up and actually talk to him there and get a clearer perspective of what happened from his vantage point.
Unfortunate, but looks like Carl Dodson's going to be pulling that trickery also. Oh, looks like he was maybe trying to trick some guys to go down pit road, even though pit road, I do believe, like you said, is closed. So that's going to be a penalty there for Mark Sanchez.
I think he did get a bite on that, but unfortunately for Sanchez, that was not the play to make.
Here comes Clayton Hoffman on the inside here of Matt DeCiani, going to be challenging for the lead.
All good things must come to an end as the 92 now pulls back alongside the 1. And these are going to battle just briefly here for this position as Matt DeCiani is up high on the track. Clayton has that low line, seems to be his preferred line right here. See if he can actually make it stick through the turn.
Of course, we are, I do believe, exiting turn 3 here. Going to be taking the final lap of the stage here. And looks like DeCiani's got the run up on the top side. If he's able to continue to do what he's doing right now, I think he might be able to grab himself a stage win. But the 20, I do believe, of Nicholas Vroman coming up there on the 92, if he can give him some nice shoves, that might be exactly what he needs for Clayton to go back-to-back here in the stage. Looks like Clayton going to be able to get through 1 and 2. He's able to get a much better line than Matt DeCiani is. And DeCiani a little bit slower, going to be probably under fire here from some of these other drivers. But I think the 14 of Jeffrey Souza, of course, those guys I do believe are teammates, probably going to be helping each other out.
Speaking of teammates, looks like Greg Wachinski is actually going to be on the inside of his teammate, Kenny Powell, as these two got Brian Johnson are right behind them. Guys, there's only going to be enough room for 2 of you, so one of you can't come.
Yep, that is definitely true. Greg Wachinski, he's been one of the big movers here tonight. Drove his way up to through the field here. That 5 car looking really strong here. Yellow flag is out, and that completes stage 2. Clayton Hoffman able to go back-to-back. Wonder if he'll be able to take home the win. As always, you can see a guy absolutely dominate a race. But it's all going to come down to that final lap. We'll have to see how that all works here. I do believe we saw some guys that did do that little bit of a pit strategy to try to get some of that track position. I think it worked out well for DeCiani. I mean, before that stage 1 break, he was a little bit further back in the field. Started this, deep in the middle of the pack, and now, finds himself up in second place. So even if he didn't win the stage, he still got a lot of track position, and it worked.
Yeah, I think it might have would have evened out. I don't know if he was actually in the top 10 there at the end of stage 1, but he definitely did risk it for the biscuit and made a power move as he does find himself finishing second. But Jeffrey Souza, same play for him, and he lands himself a top 5. So definitely worked out in their favor. But now I think this is where we actually get to see strategies start to unfold here. So with that, I think we'll take a brief step away, get another word from our sponsors. We'll come back and see if we can drum up somebody to talk to.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Clayton Hoffman missing his box a little bit there. Has to kick it in reverse to get back in there. That could cost him some valuable positions. As let's see who wins the race off pit road. Oh, look at that. I think Matt DeCiani might have won it, or it could have even been Nicholas Vroman, but I do believe we have a
Matt
guest.
DeCiani.
Wow.
It was Matt DeCiani wins the race off of pit road. And, yeah, it looks like we got Mr. Chris D. Johnson up in the booth. Mr. Johnson is a Big Al. You got me?
Yes, sir.
So, as we're sitting here watching this, obviously I don't think you're still in the race right now, but could you kind of walk through what happened from your perspective?
Well, as you could see, the G&G drivers were lined up. You know, me, Kenny, Greg, and Brian, and we're going after Derek. And I got to a point where it really 10th place in the second stage wasn't really worth it for me, so I kind of backed out, let them have it, which was probably the worst mistake. And I got caught up with Wayne. It looked like Wayne overshot it, but it wasn't the case at all. It was for looking at the replay, it was Carl that got into Wayne, and Wayne got into me. So it was a good car. I hate it that we got taken out, but cheering for my G&G guys.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for you. Did you think you had a chance though? Was your car fast enough to win? Were you dialed in with your setup, or were you just kind of iffy about it?
Well, it seemed pretty good on the short run. I was probably the only moron in the field shifting. Seems like everybody is picking a gear and just sticking with it. So it was good on the short run, most definitely. Towards the end of the first stage, Josh was pulling on me on the longer run. So I would say it's safe to say that I had more of a short run than a long run car. So.
Well, I mean, unfortunate for you that you're out of it, man. But well, hopefully we'll see you on Saturday. But before we let you go, who'd you like to give a shout out?
Of course, ButtKicker and Tucson Sound Art, Southern Spiral, and G&G, and y'all up in the booth for doing a great job every weeknight, weekend. Thank y'all.
Well, thank you, sir, and you have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.
That was Chris Johnson. Sorry, Big Al.
No, I was going to say that was Chris Johnson. Very unfortunate, and I was thinking that maybe he was kind of laying back for a pit strategy, but yeah, he was just getting out of the chaos.
Trying to, but he
screwed, right?
Yeah, he went from the frying pan to the fire. It looked like, and like you said, that was definitely an interesting perspective. I didn't see that Carl Dodson had gotten into Wayne Grossi and kind of sent him into him. That interesting perspective. Glad we were able to have that here, as we're going to be exiting turn 3 here in just a moment. Joseph Lester going to be leading us there. Of course, he picked definitely that same strategy that DeCiani did earlier. Curious to see how that's going to play out for him. Pace car going to be heading down pit road any time now, and there he goes.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag, back out in the air. Joseph Lester wasting no time as he smashes that loud pedal.
Yeah, absolutely. Joseph Lester is definitely going to want to get out front and get as far out front as he can, try to get a lead going, because Clayton Hoffman is definitely going to be marching through the field. Josh Schaffner as well. These guys know what it's like to be up front. Now that we're into this third and final stage, though, drivers are going to have to conserve, because you're going to have to try to stay in that draft and try to get as many of those 30 laps that you can, because that's what's going to affect your pit strategy the most.
Yeah, for sure. As always, this final stage, these guys have 30 laps. I do believe that they can make it on a fuel tank. Tires definitely going to be screaming at them by the end of that 30 laps. I mean, I know you're always one that says these guys probably should try to run it out as far as they can. I don't know. I feel like these guys probably going to want to try to split it in half. I'd say probably going to be pitting, I'd say around probably 55 or 60, somewhere in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Drivers are going to probably want to stack it up, so they'll just have about 15 laps to go or so on that last set of tires there. So I think that's going to be the key. If you can actually maintain pace, stay out of trouble. You see Kenny Powell now high on the racetrack. He is definitely making that high side work for him.
That he is. Here comes JC Nobrega side by side for the lead with Joseph Lester. JC Nobrega is one of those new guys that's been showing up here in this series, and we were so glad to have him out here. And man, he has been definitely putting some work in. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw the Brega actually display quite a bit of pace there on that road race. I believe we were out at Sonoma, or yeah, I believe it was Sonoma. No, Road America, and unfortunately got into it with a teammate. But hey, they started strong though, so hopefully they'll actually get some more pace back in here tonight, get themselves a chance to be up on that podium, and maybe we'll actually be able to get a shout out from them here later on, Brian.
Yeah, I definitely hope so. I've been so shocked to see, that damage that Carl Dodson received. He said he had 2 minutes of repairs to make, and he is sitting right now in the top 5, looking really strong. I mean, that is impressive, and I'm shocked that car is still running as good as it is. I mean, his crew did a fantastic job getting that thing back into race ready form.
Yeah, that's awesome that he will actually get an opportunity to come back out here and compete because, man, guys are going to want to get a strong finish with this field being as big as it is and this series being as competitive as it is. Because if you look at the names that are in this series right here, you got some of the most heavy hitters in our racing out here battling it out. So track position, every race is going to count, man. You got to try to get up front and be there when it counts.
100%. And, you can see right now, I'm watching the 76 there, Derek Heitman, pushing Josh Schaffner into the corner. This is what I was talking about earlier, about pushing someone into the corner a little bit faster than they want to go. That's exactly what that 76 was just trying to do there to Josh Schaffner. Unfortunately, it didn't work. Schaffner did get a little bit tight through 1 and 2, or 1 there, but it looks like he's still going to be able to maintain that position. So going to be able to watch for that all night long. The guy's going to be pushing on that back bumper in the straightaway to make that guy a little bit uncomfortable going into the turn.
My spidey senses detect that Clayton Hoffman is actually riding in the draft to conserve fuel and save tires.
Definitely could be the case.
Yeah, we watched him just all but dominate that entire first stage. And then the second stage, he just kind of tucked in, was a nice guy. And then all of a sudden, with 1 to go, he just comes out of nowhere and takes the lead. And I think that might be what we're seeing right here, right now, Brian.
Yeah, I definitely think you might be onto something there. Mid-pack here, or further back in the pack, we do have a lot of battling going on here as we see the 65 there, Joey Preby, Austin Story, they're all drafting together, Wayne Grassi, all in one little area here, side by side. I do believe this is the only side-by-side battling in the pack right now.
Yeah, a little bit early to get racy, but they're not really being racy. These guys are just getting pulled so hard on that draft, and you don't want to mash the brakes when you don't have to because that is just going to kill your momentum. So you see a lot of these guys actually bouncing to the outside. They're just trying to hope to carry as much of that speed as they can through the turns here because you want to maintain that pace at all costs because if you fall out, we've seen what happens.
100%. This is definitely a momentum racetrack. We see the 20 right now. Nicholas Vroman trying to go underneath the 50 here, but he's going to have to get out of the gas, and he slows down.
It's interesting, though, that J.C. Nobrega and Joseph Lester have been battling for the lead as hard as they have been for as long as they have been. These guys are just, no regard to conservation at all as Joseph Lester now falls all the way back to 6th place. Not sure what happened there, but I think he might have just, smoked it up a little bit too quick there, Brian.
I think you might be right. Something definitely going on with that race car. Probably got the temperature in those tires a little bit too high as we see the 20 and Nicholas Vroman able to get right on by. Here comes John Schaffner on the inside of Joseph Lester. JC Nobrega, your leader now.
We just hope that Lester can actually stay in his own headspace and not actually get rattled. He has the capability to actually be in the top 3 here tonight for the finish, but sometimes he does get rattled. That is one of the things that we have noticed about him. So hopefully he can actually maintain here as we are halfway through this race here tonight, Brian. So far, we've only had 1 caution, man, and it's been clean and green. Other than that, and I think it's just going to be looking like more the same.
Yeah, definitely been some high-intensity racing we're seeing right now as we see some side-by-side battling still in the top 10. See Jeffrey Souza there trying to make something happen.
That's some super high-intensity track racing.
That is for sure. Guys are definitely not just out here to survive. That is for sure. They are all trying their hardest to get as many positions as they can, and definitely not really looking at the long haul right now. But these guys are. I mean, you can't take a breather. This track requires aggressiveness. It really does. I mean, you really have to be. You hit your marks perfectly. You also have to make sure you take every bit of inch of this racetrack that you can, because as soon as you see someone else falter, you got to be ready to jump on that. Because if you don't, there's going to be somebody in line waiting to do exactly what you should have did.
Yeah, absolutely. We are 39 laps to go. We'll be 38 at the line.
See Jeffrey Souza right now underneath Kenny Powell trying to make the pass happen. He's got Mark Pageant right there with him. Kenny Powell definitely needs that G&G. He needs his group to be behind him, but luckily he's kind of split up from them right now. And I'm sure that's exactly what Jeffrey Souza and Mark Pageant want.
As that lead pack is actually starting to initiate its breakaway. We generally see that happen about 10 laps into the run, and that's about where we're at now.
No, yeah, you're exactly right. And we'll probably start to see a little bit of these guys spreading out. But J.C. Nobrega definitely in control. Matt DeCiani sitting in second place. Clayton Hoffman sitting in third. Carl Dodson's in fourth. Derek Heitman, he's in fifth. So that's your top five right now.
Nicholas Vroman in sixth. Josh Schaffner in seventh. Joseph Lester, eighth. Jeffrey Souza in ninth. Kenny Powell rounds out your top 10.
Glad to see Jeff Barnes is still out there racing. We saw he was in a horrific crash earlier. Definitely had a lot of damage on that machine, but it definitely seems like usually I know when the Gen 6, when you got a lot of damage on that machine at a track like Pocono, your race was literally done. I mean, you even if you could still manage to drive it around, you wouldn't have speed. But these guys, I mean, somehow they're able to fix these cars and get them back up to speed. It's very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm loving this new damage model, the tire model. I just love the sim. It's just amazing. And for those of you that would like to get into iRacing, well, you go to iRacing.com. And if you're already into iRacing, or if you don't want to get into iRacing, you can just watch us iRace. You can like, subscribe, and follow. Follow us on Facebook, or like us on Twitter, and subscribe to us on Twitch. I'm a social media moron.
Oh, man. Well, and also, we definitely could use some more, if you do have iRacing, we could use some more guys on that Saturday series. I'm sure they're definitely open to recruiting some more guys, so maybe reach out to ISCA, the iRacing Stock Car Association on Facebook. I'm sure Kenny Powell will definitely try to help you get out here racing with some of the best of the best.
Or if you know anybody who would like to sponsor an event, maybe a commercial or something, also reach out to Kenny Powell.
See Jeffrey Souza right now side by side with Joseph Lester. 95 has been falling through the field. Unfortunate to see, but definitely going to be probably wanting to get a set of tires as soon as he possibly can. But I do believe the fuel window has not opened yet. I do believe in the next probably 5 laps, that's when that window will open. I suspect we'll see him at about 55, 60. You said that they probably pit maybe to have 15 laps on those tires left, so could we see that? Definitely could be a possibility, as we're now, I do believe, 13 laps into this run. Some guys have 18 laps on their tires, some have 13, but we have been 13 laps in this stint. Carl Dodson, I do believe, just got really loose. Now he's going to get passed by Nicholas Vroman. You can see how much it hurts when you lose that momentum. We talked about this being a momentum track. Well, Dodson got loose, and he lost 2 positions just off of that.
Yeah, you'll get shuttled to the back real quick. And, and that's the thing. A lot of these guys aren't going to be able to make it to 15 to go. But, I'm telling my guy, at least we're going to try to stay out till, 20 to go. But another thing, too, Brian, is you're going to go when everybody goes. Really?
Sounds like you got some type of animal in your house there, Big Al. Clayton Hoffman, though, has taken over second place, getting around Matt DeCiani. DeCiani, definitely, he had a preferred line on the bottom, but it looks like the 92 was able to get the run on the top. Surprised to see how well that top has been benefiting a lot of these drivers. I mean, it seems like they're just able to get so much more momentum up there. I'm wondering what that does to the tires.
You know, sometimes you don't have a choice but to go up top like that. So that might be the case too, because the preferred line is definitely going to be the bottom. But as these things roll on and you get more laps and laps on your tires, sometimes that car just wants to naturally run up there to the top like that.
Looks like Jeffrey Sousa's going to be able to make the pass for 8th place on Kenny Powell. Almost verging on 3 wide here. Joseph Lester having to deal with Greg Wachinski. He's also got, I do believe, Thomas O'Hara behind him.
Let's had a car down below the yellow line. Not sure what's going on with that.
I do believe that is the 27 of Derek Jacobs. As we see Clayton Hoffman closing in on J.C. Nobrega, only a 10th separating these drivers right now. Even though we're a little bit further in this run, still some very tight racing. Surprised to see it. I mean, we saw it, I think in stage 1, it very much spread out quite a bit. Stage 2, it definitely did too. Doesn't seem like it's spreading out quite as much. I'm curious to see if maybe some guys have been making adjustments to try to get that car a little bit better. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, we saw the 27 of Derek Jacobs. He was just coming off of pit road just a little bit early on the stop there. But, you know, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, Brian.
Yeah, and he might not, I don't think, have enough gas to make it to the end.
Yeah,
Joey Preby slow on the bottom here. I do believe it was he. Did he just come off of pit road also? No, he didn't. He's actually 16 laps into his run, so no, I do believe he's just having an issue here as he goes really wide into turn 2 into the outside wall.
That is not good. He's going to have to get a handle on that pony, or we surely will get a caution. Not sure what's going on with the 65 right now, but he's definitely having a situation that's a 95 is drifted to the turns as well. All kinds of weird things happening out on the racetrack, Brian.
There definitely are. Joseph Lester's even throwing some blocks there on Thomas O'Hara, trying to keep him behind him. This, of course, is the longest run we've seen so far on these tires. So no wonder we're seeing a little bit of, a little bit of chaos out there right now.
Well, this is the time of the race, we wanted to see. You got to have a long run setup in your car. There's no way you're going to make it through this race without that, So I don't know if drivers will make an adjustments or not at the end of the stage. But now this is the time where you're going to see who has that long run setup. And once you come back in, I think if you could stay up for another 10 laps, you're in that perfect window. I just don't know if a lot of these guys are going to have the pace to be able to do that. As we're seeing the 19, he is coming off a pit road right now.
Matt DeCiani trying to make a pass here on J.C. Nobrega. We kind of missed it there. Clayton Hoffman back up into the lead, and he has about a half a second of a lead right now. And it looks like DeCiani was trying to get by J.C. Nobrega, but he was unsuccessful, and that has allowed the 20 to get up here to that 12 cars bumper. Definitely some big battling going on right now. As J.C. Nobrega trying to do everything he can to hold on to that second place position. And now we've reached that point to where they are starting to spread out here. Of course, second, third, fourth, and fifth are right there on top of each other, but everybody else is pretty spread out.
Yeah, Nicholas Vroman has definitely been displaying a lot of pace and patience here. He is definitely going to be a welcome addition to this league as he currently finds himself up in the third place position there. Now, J.C. Nobrega is doing everything that he can to try to hold on to that position. I think this is going to come down to a display of patience. We're going to see exactly how much patience as well as pace that 20 has.
Yeah, I definitely think he's definitely sending a message to the field, hey, I might be new to this series, but I'm definitely not new to racing. That's for sure. As he is doing an excellent job out here, and he's definitely being tested by, J.C. Nobrega when it comes to that patience. You see he drives right up to the back bumper there trying to make something happen, but, definitely got some nerves of steel. I think you have to have nerves of steel to drive around this track. Green flag pit stop should be kicking off any time now. Fuel window is open. These guys can make it to the end if they pit, and I do see a lot of guys are kind of struggling. So wouldn't be surprised to see some guys already going down soon.
Yeah, but if you go down now, Brian, you're just going to struggle later. I mean, you still got 28 laps to go, which is quite a long run. That's longer than what you've run thus far. So it's one of those things where drivers are just going to have to suck it up, I think, as long as they possibly can. So that way they'll actually be able to have a little bit more pace as this thing gets into the latter stages of the race.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, of course, that is, DeCiani into the outside wall.
Yeah, these walls are made out of concrete, too. Did I mention that?
Yeah, I don't think anybody knew that.
Yeah, well, you hit them, and they don't really move.
Wall always wins. It's like rock, paper, scissors. Wall always wins.
Yeah, these drivers doing exactly what they need to be doing right now. Is the 24, Kenny Powers, nose to tail there with the 117 of Thomas O'Hara. Thomas O'Hara is actually running 12th. I think that's his highest that he's been so far this night.
Joseph Lester down pit road. Andrew Layton down pit road also. And I do believe that's the 65 of Joey Preby. So that is, we're kicking off green flag pit stops as we speak. Also see Derek Jacobs is on pit road. I thought he had just pitted.
Well, if he did just pit, he might be trying to come back in now to make up the delta. Is the only thing I could think of, unless he is really having handling woes. I'm interested. It's interesting to me, though, that the green flag pit stop started so early.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, it's almost like, barring a caution, these guys are actually probably going to end up pitting again.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, we're definitely in that fuel window. I mean, the 30-lap fuel run, we're on lap 55. They're definitely going to be hurting a little bit when it comes to tires by the end. I definitely can see that.
Well, the pace of the race has fallen off substantially as well. The majority of the guys that are still running are almost 2 seconds off of what their best laps are. So, you take that into consideration as well. I don't know if this is the track where you really want to be letting it all hang out at the end there, as Kenny Powell just glances off the wall slightly a little bit. I'm just thinking about handling in the long haul. That's the only concern I would have.
Oh, yeah, but it looks like here we go. There's some more guys going down pit road. Now, this is about the halfway point right now also, because I do believe, like you said, I think we have 24, 25 laps to go. These guys are 23 laps into this run, so a little bit early, probably a lap or so early, but definitely interesting to see all these guys following down pit road. Mark Paget, Jeffrey Souza, Carl Dodson. That's probably going to start kicking it off. Everybody's going to see these guys doing it and probably go down also.
And now the key is when you come back out, you got to still maintain. You can't, just because you got up and on the fresh tires, you got to be in conservation mode, because until you get to be with a track this long, I mean, this track right here is weighing in at 2.5 miles, okay? So with a track this long, you're going to really want to be about 3 to go before you and have some tire wear left there.
Here comes J.C. Nobrega. He's going to be taking a trip down pit road.
And
one thing about it, too, is when you're out here running, you don't want to run by yourself. Like I said, it's kind of a hybrid of maybe like a road course-like track and a super speedway. And when you're at a super speedway, you don't run by yourself because you're going to be slower, especially in the short run. Maybe not on the long run, but in the short run, running by yourself is probably going to be a death sentence.
Yeah, and I do believe that Nicholas Roman is definitely making the right call, because if he has any shot at besting Clayton Hoffman, he is going to have to stay with him and stay behind him, because I believe if you do pit opposite of Clayton, you're probably not going to see him again.
I don't know if he's going to see him again either way, just considering he's got now 2.3 seconds on that 20 car. A big distance there. It's going to be hard to close in, but Clayton Hoffman is also having to deal with lamp traffic, along with the 20 having to deal with lamp traffic. So that is going to be something that's going to be coming into play here.
Yeah, and I totally understand that Clayton's probably going to stay out as long as he possibly can, which makes sense to me, because I want to be faster longer as Josh Schaffner now comes down pit road. That's only going to leave a couple cars still out there. Looks like Clayton Hoffman, Nicholas Roman, and Wayne Grossi. Daniel Coho and Randy Drumhill.
Yeah, and most people have pitted in the last couple laps here. The only other person, Austin Story, he's got 10 laps on his tires, so he's right now sitting in 8th place. He did pit a little bit early. I don't think he's going to make it on fuel. We'll have to wait and see how that all kind of plays out. But you could definitely see the value of some new tires as we saw the 20 having and Clayton Hoffman having to deal with that lap traffic. Those guys were faster than him. Here comes the 20. Almost locks him up a little bit, but he's able to get down. This is actually a very difficult pit road here.
Well. Yeah, that's another thing, too. You got to wait until everybody gets done with their pit stops as well to actually see how everyone fared on pit road.
This is a difficult pit road because, coming out of 3, 3 is a very loose corner. When you're getting back on the gas, you definitely could get a little bit loose and easy to, especially even under braking coming down pit road, getting slowed down. It's very easy to lose it right there. I know with the Gen 6 at least. I'm not sure about this car, but I definitely know that 3 is a loose corner as it is. And when you're adding a little bit of braking down to get down to the pit lane, definitely could cause issues. But it looks like Clayton Hoffman is going to come out of pit road, and he's going to be still holding on to second. Man, that is insanity here.
And, also remember they actually shortened the pit road exit on this racetrack. You used to have to carry it halfway through the turn. Now you kind of pick it up as soon as you come off of pit road. So that also makes a big difference.
It does, and almost maybe even cause a little bit of danger in a way. You got guys coming right off onto the racetrack while other guys might be just entering one. That is definitely can cause accidents at this track. But luckily we've only seen one accident, I'd say. I mean, this has been quite a good race so far.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Jose Acosta for actually making a smashing entrance into the Thursday Night League.
Unfortunate there. Definitely a very talented driver. I think he learned what not to do on Saturday.
Yeah, Jose, we're just teasing you, but Jose Acosta, man, is stand-up guy. He's actually got 2 wins over on the Saturday Night Series, so he is definitely a competitor. Just sorry that he actually misjudged that turn like that, but, hopefully he'll get a chance to maybe come back here one day later and, give it a go again.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll definitely have taken what he's learned and hopefully apply that to Saturday here. But you could definitely see that pit stops have really changed everything here. Matt DeCiani finds himself up in front of Nicholas Vroman right now. Vroman, I do believe, has some newer tires than him. He's got about 3-lap newer tires to be exact.
And so this is a dangerous part in the race for me because now drivers are going to be on fresh rubber and they're going to be trying to catch the carrot. You're chasing that faster lap time. You're trying to get around the guy in front of you. Some guys are going to be, you got guys on different tire life. So this is the dangerous part. This is the part where we could actually have an organic caution come out, and that's not what we really want. I mean, so guys still got to be very cognizant. They got to, because it's easy right now to put yourself in a bad position, and that's what you don't want your driver to do, right?
Yeah, you definitely don't want your driver to do that, put themselves in a bad position. And you got all these guys that are on different tires. You got guys on new tires. You got guys on older tires. That is a recipe for disaster, especially at a track like this where, breaking points. Oh, they go 3 wide. Austin Story having to get out of it. Now he's 3 wide again. Contact him with Joseph Lester.
That is going to bring out a caution as he is sideways. Caution is going to be out. Looks like everybody else was actually able to get clear there. And that's exactly what we were just talking about. I know we didn't talk it into existence, but you got that very same situation there. If you actually rewind the tape there, you'll see what we're saying where, and it's nothing that anybody did wrong. It's just that you got 3 different races going on in the same turn. And unfortunately, they met at the scene of the accident.
That they did. And I do believe Joseph Lester and Austin Story are on the same team.
Yeah, I think Story just kind of came in just a little bit. I don't think he was clear. I don't think he intended to do that, but he was off pace. It looks like he just kind of closed the door on Lester there a little bit too much. But that is going to be a godsend for a lot of people, though, because with 19 laps to go, some of those guys who had actually short-pitted it will actually now be able to come down pit road free of charge and actually make their situations right, Brian.
I want to take almost was a contact there with him and DeCiani, and then we look back at this, and I think he got loose, You can see that in turn 3, he looked like he was loose and went down to the racetrack. And something is wrong with that car because he's even trying to press the gas pedal and it's not moving, it doesn't believe. But something definitely not working with that car. I do believe his right side rear wheel is, no, his front right is actually disconnected there.
Yeah, I think he's just giving it all that he can, buddy. But sometimes, she just hurt a little bit.
Now
Man,
I'm wondering. I think everybody probably has a set of tires left. Do you use them now? I think it's the question.
I don't think you do. I think for the guys that need to come down pit road now, they know who they are. I think they come down. Everybody else, I think you stick to your strategy. You run this thing because, I mean, once you pop the caution, you're probably going to have another caution because we say cautions breed cautions, and we still got out of the 30 plus cars that started this thing. Well, sorry, out of the 29 cars that started this, looks like we still got 23 on the lead lap. So
yeah, definitely been impressive to see all these guys still out here. Surprised we haven't had more accidents, to be honest with you. I mean, Pocono, very high intensity, as everybody probably has already noticed. Tonight it's been very high intensity. I mean, the action has been definitely at a 10, I'd say, and luckily, all these guys have been handling it well. We haven't seen too many accidents. Oh, it looks like Clayton Hoffman. He's going to be leading them back down pit road here. Uh-oh. Looks like somebody decided not to go. I do believe that was Nicholas Vroman.
Also, Mark Paget decided to stay out. Matt DeCiani staying out as well.
I'm shocked that Clayton would go down pit road here. I mean, I do believe, only had just a couple laps on his tires. Wonder if he takes tires here. It looks like, see what he does.
I mean, it's Clayton. Hey, look, here's the deal. It's like, hey, Superman's wearing sneakers. Does it matter? He's still Superman.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
He's definitely been the fastest car.
Yeah, we're talking about Clayton Hoffman. I mean, come on. Does it matter?
Well, one thing about it, though, that does matter, this could be his last set of tires. I do believe it is. Now, if we see another caution in like 5 or 10 laps, that could be a big difference because all the guys that still have tires left, they're going to have a distinct advantage.
Yeah, but they'll lose a lot of track position. That's going to be the only thing. And so even the guys that stayed out, I mean, they're virtually sitting ducks because it's just a matter of time before those guys on fresh tires catch up to them now. The other underside to that is you're going to have some guys that be on fresh tires that might be a little bit more aggressive, I think, than they might need to be. And that could potentially be another situation where we'll see a caution. Did I say that politically correct enough?
Yeah. Definitely, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying. Definitely having to drive through the pack is not going to be fun if you're a guy like Nicholas Vroman and Pitt if another caution does come out. But, I mean, it still could be an advantage because those guys won't have tires left. They're not going to be able to defend against you very well. But, I mean, we've seen how hard it is. I wouldn't say really incredibly hard to pass. But, I mean, that new tire is going to be somewhat of an advantage. We'll have to wait and see how that kind of plays out. Of course, the pace car light should be going out this time by. And I do believe when we go back green, we're going to have 15 laps to go. So, essentially, here's stage number 4.
you gotta make the pass, Brian.
You definitely do.
And I think that's exactly what Clayton Hoffman did. I mean, I think he understood what his fastest setup was. That was the same identical set that you ran through stages 1 and 2. Both of those were 15 laps. So now you go back in, you put in your 15-lap setup, and you just run the tires off of it. So I think that is exactly what was the second part of the strategy. But I do understand where the other guys come from because I don't think we're done with cautions yet. But speaking of which, like you said, the lights are off on the pace car. He is leading these guys around this a long 2.5-mile track. And if we getting ready to go racing here again here pretty soon.
Nicholas Vroman right now, I do believe, is on only 6 laps old tires. So not too bad for him. Matt DeCiani's got 9-lap old tires. Jeffrey Sousa, 9-lap. Mark Pageant, also 9 laps. Derek Heitman, 7 laps. So a lot of guys up here varying on how many laps they have on their tires. But, man, could we see Nicholas Vroman, I know it's too early to really say, But, you know, his first race here in the ISCA, could he come home with a victory? I don't know if we've seen that quite often.
Are you calling it? Is that your
Oh,
call?
I'm not calling it. No, I'm just saying what if?
Okay.
What if?
I was wondering if you was making that call or not.
No, I'm definitely not. I don't think. I think it's way too early to call here. Anything could happen still. 15 laps is a long time at Pocono.
You know, and he is going to have to get out in front of Matt DeCiani if he wants to get the advantage of the clean air. Once he gets out in that clean air, it's like I said earlier, he has got to get a run. That's going to be his only chance of trying to survive, is hoping that the field kind of spreads out behind him. But if they stay in two lines, it's going to be a lot more complicated.
Here comes the green flag back out in the air. Nicholas Roman waiting a little bit later there. Gets a good shot. That thing fired off very good. Them Toyotas look like they got something special under the hood.
Yeah, he got the launch that he needed right there, because that is going to mean that he is not really contending with anybody going into turn one. He is clear of everybody. Let the melee and the calamity ensue behind him. He's doing exactly what he needs to do now. He's just got to maintain.
Andrew Griesbaum in the middle, 3 wide there, going back and forth a little bit. Almost, I think, might have had a little bit of contact. Luckily, it does not equal anything too bad.
Yeah, and you got Joseph Lester that's right back there, and he's going to be pushing it right behind Jose Nebrega. And these guys are racy, Brian. They've been racy all day, and so I don't think these guys are just going to be in the mood to just lay it down. I think it's going to be a lot of blocking and a lot of chances being taken out there, especially at this stage in the race.
100%. The man that's going to be on the move here. Oh, problems is Wayne Grossi around.
And Wayne Grossi going around again. That's going to be the second time for him tonight. Man, he just can't seem to get out of his own way. I know he struggled a little bit a couple of Thursdays ago at Atlanta. And here he is tonight with potentially another.
We'll see exactly what happened here. I do believe the 65 just got into him. I don't know. Oh, the 65 got loose on the exit and just cleared him right out. That is nothing Wayne could have did about that there.
Just unfortunate for him, because like I was saying, you know, he kind of got taken out in Atlanta, kind of got taken out at Pocono. So, I mean, those DNFs or those you know, he's going to fall down in the positions. That's just not going to be good for him at this stage in the race.
And we'll see exactly what happened here. I think it was just a 65 just kind of out of sorts. You see he going down the racetrack. He's already loose right here. And once it catches, oh no, he had a little bit of contact with the 4 of Brian Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely. He just was in a 3 wide situation, and unfortunately played a little bit of a game of ping pong, and Grossi lost.
Unfortunately, sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield. And fortunately, Wayne Grossi was the bug this time around.
I think he just caught 7-ball corner pocket off the 4.
And we were talking about earlier about, you know, a caution is, you know, definitely a lot of likely potential for it. Is Nicholas Roman going to go down now? Is any of these other guys going to go down now?
You know, I don't think Roman comes down now. I think at this point, the caution is kind of going to level the field a little bit, because by the time this thing goes green, you're 12 laps to go. I mean, I just, the tires are going to get cool. I think you stay out and run what you got.
Run what you brung.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the time. This is not the time to go further back into the field. You saw what happens in the back of the field, and I think right now you just want to be out front and hope that everything continues to happen behind you. I think what I'm trying to say is track position.
Oh, yeah, definitely track position going to be very important. And like you said, I mean, yeah, it definitely is a gamble and a risk to be back there with all those other drivers. So we'll have to wait and see what he does here. It looks like he believe he's going to be actually staying out. Jeffrey Souza thinking about it.
Well, here comes the 44 for Randy Drumhiller.
Yep, Randy Drumhill looks like I think he is the only one that took a trip down pit road. Going to be using his last set of tires here. Actually, there goes Wayne Grossi. Of course, Grossi was involved in that accident. Of course, I do believe also Joey Preby. So both of those guys probably going to be trying to get a little bit of damage fixed while they have the chance here. Pace car light should be going out any time now. I do believe when we go back green, we're probably going to have about 10 laps to go. It's going to be a 10-lap shootout here to settle it all. Who's going to win the Napa 200? We appreciate everybody out there joining us here tonight, and hopefully you're enjoying this lovely Thursday night, and we appreciate you picking the ISCA to spend it.
I think it's getting ready to get racy, Brian.
Oh, I definitely think that is the best way to describe it. Of course, Clayton Hoffman, he's on about 7 or 8 lap newer tires than these guys that are in front of him. So I definitely think he's going to be trying his best to scream to the field. But does he have enough time? I mean, 10 laps is still a long time at Pocono. We'll have to wait and see. Can, by the time he gets up there to that leader, could his tires have already been kind of equalized with the rest of this track or field?
No, not if you're running your best short run setup. I think he's going to be just fine. I mean, you can pretty much run flat out here as far as speed and tempo goes, and I think you're going to have to. I think drivers are going to have to be really aggressive, and they're going to have to show their teeth, put their elbows out, and make risky moves. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but that's really one of the only ways you're going to get by at Pocono, and you're going to see a lot of those guys probably try to make some of those moves entering the turn one. As lights are off on the pace car, we're doubling them up. Looks like we will be 10 to go at the line next time around.
Yeah,
for those
we will be.
Yeah, for those of you just joining us, you're watching the iRacing Stock Car Association. And we are live from Pocono. This about scheduled for 80 laps, and looks like we got about 70 of those in the books. I believe we've had 3 organic cautions other than the 2 stage cautions this far.
Yeah, and those cautions haven't been the worst things you would have expected. I think the worst place for a caution to happen has got to be probably, or a wreck to happen, it's got to be outside of turn 3, on the front stretch. That is definitely the place where, you can see a parking lot kind of start to form because there's walls on every side. We'll have to wait and see if we see any more cautions. Hopefully these guys can keep it clean and green as we exit turn 2, soon to go into turn 3. Then the pace car will be going down pit road, and we'll be back with some more racing action here from the Napa 200.
Still showing 19 of the original 29 cars that started this event on the lead lap. And that means it's going to get really, really awesome here. And this is going to be the best thing I think that we've seen all evening here, Brian.
Still unknown who's going to be able to come home with the victory. Definitely a couple guys, a lot of guys are on newer tires in this front 8 or 7, I should say. Green flag back out in the air. What a launch there from Nicholas Vroman. I mean, he has got that launch down pat.
He did definitely get an awesome launch. And once again, same thing I said last time. That is exactly what he needs to do. Let those guys worry about what's going on behind him. If there are 4 wide going into 1, going to break it down to 3 wide. Josh Schaffner's on the inside.
Clayton Hoffman driving it really high on the racetrack, trying to get around Carl Dodson. Looks like he's going to be able to do so. Side by side with Jeffrey Souza and Mark Pageant right now.
And I'm going to tell you, you're really nervous when you're up there against that wall on the inside there, on the outside, because it just takes one dude to hit you, man. And you hit that wall, you really is not a whole lot you can do about it.
Not at all. Josh Schaffner battling hard with Jeff Barnes right now. You see Joseph Lester trying to come back into the picture, running up on the top side. 3 wide.
Jeff Barnes making his way up into the top 10 for the first time tonight. Joseph Lester, though, is going to do everything he can to stay in the top.
Oh, there goes Josh Schaffner, turned about a 32. But to be honest with you, I'll tell you what, Josh Schaffner, I think he turned himself. Jeff Barnes did. I don't think he came up. Want to take another look at this.
Schaffner looked like he's having a little bit of trouble getting his car rolling as well.
Taking a look back at this, we're watching Josh Schaffner. He's got Joseph Lester above him, so they're 3 wide right here. See, Schaffner tries to get the run and tries to get clear. Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. I think they
Barnes,
met in the middle. I think Barnes and him kind of met in the middle there.
well, this won't be popular, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think Jeff Barnes could have given him,
Some more
an inch.
room, yeah.
If he would have gave him an inch, this caution doesn't come out. But because and it's not like he didn't have the room, so I don't know. That's what
No,
Big Al's.
you're right. No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Man, that's just so unfortunate for Josh Schaffner there. You see the rear end damage on that back wheel. That's going to take a while to fix.
Yeah, and he actually didn't he take a toe to get in there?
That he did. I don't think he could move. I mean, once those those rear wheels are disconnected from the axle there, kind of hard to, get that thing to move, considering you're not going to get any power to those wheels.
Yeah, I think Schaffner's probably going to be done for the evening.
Probably going to be very upset. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that he could have, gave them some more room. They were 3 wide at the time. I mean, hopefully his spotter was telling him that, and if he was and he knew that they were 3 wide, then yeah, I think that he definitely could have took a little bit more gave a little bit more room there.
So, I mean, what position are you on this track where your spotter is? I mean, your spotter's going to call you clear. And obviously, if he was there, he was still there, right? So it's not like I don't know. I'm just going to be quiet because I'm not going to say anything that's going to be productive. But yeah, I mean, you can be 3 wide here. This racetrack, parts of it,
not everywhere. Not everywhere.
Yeah, but, but it's plenty of room, though. I mean,
where they were, yes, very much so. I mean, that is probably the most likely place for 3 wide to occur is on the front stretch.
You shouldn't be so hard on the guy.
Here comes
Brian.
Carl Dodson down pit road. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying. I mean, I think
I'm not being hard on anybody. I think the person that got the hardest lick out of that was Josh Schaffner. So if anybody, Carl Dodson though, Jeff Barnes, Thomas O'Hara, Paul Olson, all going down pit road. A little late to be heading down pit road, considering we're so close to the end of this thing. I think when we go back green, we're going to have less than 5 laps to go.
You know who didn't go down pit road? Nicholas Vroman. And if he continues to get launches like he's been getting, I mean, that's his best shot of actually staying ahead and winning this thing. Clayton Hoffman is actually back in the field. He is finding himself in 6th. But Derek Heitman, way to go, as he's making his debut here tonight as well, and he's got himself up into the top 5. Jeffrey Souza, another guy who is no stranger to success, is up here in 4th, and Mark Patchett going to be up there in 3rd place. I think when this thing goes green, man, it's going to be a nail biter.
It definitely will be. And those guys that just pitted, I mean, even though they're going to be lacking a lot of track position, they're going to have so much more speed than everybody around them. These guys up front, Nicholas Vroman, 15 laps on his tires. Even Clayton Hoffman, he has 10 laps on his tires. I mean, that is a substantial difference. Tires mean so much here. I mean, we saw in a 20-plus lap run. I mean, these guys were hitting 55-second laps. We'll have to. I mean, I would assume they're probably low 55s, maybe high 54s. But man, this is going to be interesting to see how this goes. If you are successful through cutting through this field, I think you could win the race. But I mean, it's just going to be so difficult. I mean, we've already seen it already that these guys, being 3 wide and stuff like that, there's not a lot of places to go to get by.
You could have fresh tires and you can be fast, but the thing is, you got to be smart. You got to be safe. Because if you're not those 2 things, then you're not going to be available at the end of this thing. So just because you got fresh tires and maybe you got old tires, you still got to keep that thing where it needs to be and out of trouble, because we're getting down to the wire here, and then there's only going to be so many spots to transfer. I mean, we're only talking to the top 3, right? And that's what these guys are racing for. So.
Oh, yeah.
Lights are out on the pace car, and we are doubling them up. And we're going to be watching Nicholas Vroman, because right now, the delta on these tires, once you get up to be about 13 laps, and a lot of these guys are there, we see them fall off, and that fall off has been sometimes as great as 2 seconds. Now, you got guys in the back of the pack, like you said, that are coming out on fresh tires. Now, these guys like Paul Olson and these guys, they're going to be a little bit more bold on fresh tires, I'm telling you, because you can do a lot more with this car when it goes where you want it to go. When you're just pointing and clicking, I mean, it just makes you smile, right?
Oh, yeah, these guys are going to come out here feeling like Superman And they're probably going to get a lot of positions if they're, like you said, if you're smart about it. But it's going to be difficult to get up here to Nicholas. I think the main race we're probably going to see here is going to be probably Clayton Hoffman. Can he make it up through this top 5 and catch up there to Nicholas? I think it's definitely possible. But like you said earlier, the launches that Nicholas has been having, it's going to be hard to defend against something like that when this guy already is pulling away and you're having to deal with all this other traffic.
Yeah, let's just hope that his launch doesn't become his Achilles heel. I mean, he's done it 3 times. He's got to do it a couple more, at least one. So if he can get another solid launch like the previous 2 that he's had, I think this will be the 3rd time, then he'll be good to go. Because it's the pressure for him he has got to get a clear, solid lead going into 1. Once he's got 1 set up, then he can navigate on around the rest of the turn and watch everything else just break loose behind him. Pace car's down. Let's watch him on his restart here.
Another successful launch there for him. He's able to get a couple car links.
The Vroman got the Vroman. That's what we're going to call that launch, the Vroman.
3 wide. Joseph Lester on the inside going into turn 1. Oh, almost some contact as Derek Heitman up into Jeffrey Souza.
And here you got those guys coming on those fresh tires and going to be trying to get in there. I mean, this is their best shot, and they're going to be jockeying for position back and forth. If you look at Johnson, he went from the low side to the high side. Oh, Grassi gets on the inside of Powell.
Almost a caution there. That was almost a terrible caution there. Luckily, they were able to keep that together. But Jason Obrega, he is trying his best to drive his way through this field. Up to 7th now. He's got Greg Wachinski right there behind him.
Yeah, he's got the 65 along the outside of Joey Preby, and these guys made contact a little bit earlier, incidental as it might be, but they're drag racing to the line. Looks like Nobrega's going to get the lead on that. Going into turn 1, though, this is where it could get tricky.
Clayton Hoffman battling right now with the 95 of Joseph Lester. You see Clayton having more trouble than I think we suspected getting through this pack. This is going to be good news for Nicholas. This is going to be great news for Nicholas right now.
It's just that dirty air, Brian. And, I mean, you can have a fast car, but unfortunately, when you're back in the pack like that, I mean, you're really at the mercy of the guys around you. Is J.C. Nobrega doing everything he can to try to gain positions? He is up to 7th. 3 wide, the 65 turn. Greg Wachinski gets into the 65. That's going to bring the caution out again. I don't know what happened. I think they were 3 wide right there, and it just, wow. We're still wrecking.
Yeah, that was a big accident right there. That took out a lot of cars.
Caution's out, guys. Wow, let's take a look back and see what happened. Yeah, that took out a lot of good cars there, Brian.
That it did.
Looks like Greg Wachinski kind of just rolled in there a little bit. Oh, nope.
Joey Preby into the outside wall. Derek Heitman gets into him.
I think was that Kenny Powell?
Yeah, Kenny Powell definitely right there. He gets hit by Thomas O'Hara. Wayne Grossi's also involved. A lot of cars. I mean, that was 5 or more cars involved in that.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of people coming to the holler at the end of this one.
Kenny Powell
barely
take a look rolling.
Back. Let's look at that from the 2-Force perspective. Oh, just unfortunately for Powell.
Yeah, I think he almost had a gap to get through it, but then Joey Preby kind of caught a little bit of him, sent him up the track, and then he got into someone else there.
I do believe when we started this race, I said that this was going to be an arduous process, and that means, it's tedious, man. This is going to be a long race for a lot of people, and now Nicholas Roman's out there. He's kind of a sitting duck, not having the opportunity now to go down pit road. It looks like this is going to be the first attempt at a green-white checker.
That it will be. It is going to be a green-white checker, and But I still feel like, I mean, with the way Nicholas has been doing on these restarts, I think he's got all the chance in the world right now to
Oh,
get
you
this
do not.
victory.
You do not. You absolutely under no circumstances come. If he came down pit road right now and I was his pit crew, I mean, what? I'd have my mama whip him.
They'd be like, "What are you doing down here, man? We're eating ice cream, and we weren't expecting you."
No, I'm serious. I'd have my mama whip him if he came down pit road now. I mean, all you got to do right now is just the next flag ends it. That's it.
Yeah, I think if he's able to get this restart, I think he's going to be perfectly fine. He's been showing a lot of pace. I guess earlier, I know whenever you were asking me, are you calling it, Brian? Do you think that the 20 is going to win it? I should have said yes.
It's still too soon though. I mean, we still got 2 solid laps around this track, so it is still going to be a shootout. And unfortunately, we only have one green-white checker here tonight, and I think this is going to be it. So, like I said, once they take the green flag, the next flag will end the race. But man, what a show it's been!
That is definitely a accurate statement. One thing about it, though, Clayton Hoffman, I think he's the only one that really has a chance here. Or, I mean, I think a lot of the other guys up there still do have a chance, too. But, I mean, Clayton, he's the one on the newer tires compared to everybody really around him. And he's been struggling. Like you said, dirty air is so important here. He has not been able to make as many positions as we thought he was going to be able to make up. I mean, he started off that last, green flag run there in 6th place and only has managed to work his way up to 4th. He's got to really do some hustling right now if he's going to want to win this race.
Well, it's go time, baby. I mean, that's what we're here for. I mean, this is what we came for. Every little kid right now, this is the situation they want to be in. So I always ask this question, do you want to be first, second, or third here once you go on the restart?
I don't know. I mean, in the immortal words of Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you last.
Because on the restart, it really is going to matter, especially on this track, because that outside line kind of has its own lifeline, if you will, and they will be trying to drag race into one. And you best believe that Nicholas Roman is definitely going to get a launch, and he's going to be popping to that outside as well, so he can definitely maintain his position of the lead. And if Clayton Hoffman is actually able to get through, I think he is definitely going to have a fight on his hands, Brian.
That he will. Of course, pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to go back green here for the green-white checkered.
JC Nebrega, Joseph Lester. I mean, you got some hard hitters still in here. I mean, this thing is far from decided.
It definitely is far from decided for sure. I don't know, though. I mean, it's going to be a hard sell to see if JC is able to get through there. I mean, it's just a lot of cars in between you and them. Even though it's only 7, it seems like as these tires have been wearing, it's been harder and harder to pass. The newest tires on the field is actually Carl Dodson. He's back there in 12th place. He only has 6 laps on his tires, while everybody else is 20s or 16, somewhere in there.
You know why they make us run all these laps, right? Because they all count. Let's go.
Green flag, green flag.
Really good restart there from Nicholas once again. He goes up to the top to try to get as much momentum as he can going into 1 and 2. Clayton Hoffman pushing Matt DeCiani.
Yeah, Clayton's definitely got to get himself in a position where he is no longer pushing. But you got to watch out for Lester there, 3 wide coming into the turn.
Yeah, Joseph Lester almost went up there and cleared himself on, I do believe, Mark Pageant. Luckily, he realized what was going on.
And we are still not out of the woods yet. It's JC Nebrega. This feels more like a horse race.
Definitely does. As look at that. Jeffrey Souza on the inside of Matt DeCiani. Nicholas has got to be loving what he's seeing in his rearview mirror. He's like, keep fighting. Please keep fighting.
Absolutely. It looks like he is getting ready to take the white flag here.
Greg Wachinski definitely making some big moves. Oh, there goes the 22. There is the caution.
That is going to freeze the field. Unfortunately for those guys that actually got wrapped up in that, that'll give us a chance to actually set everything up. Oh, yeah, Thomas O'Hara, Andrew Griezmann.
See exactly what just happened here. Grease bomb, I think. Oh, it looks like the 22 and I do believe the 4 of Brian Johnson kind of get into one another. And man, devastation is look at Andrew Greasebomb all the way down on the pit road.
Yeah, and that car doesn't look like it's going to be able to make it back around. But hey, it is a Ford, though. I think he might be all right.
I don't know. Well, when I was coming up, they always called Fords, or the little saying was found on road dead.
Anyway, first on race day.
There's all kinds of sayings, isn't there? So that is going to conclude the race. We're on the final lap right now. Going to be ending it here under yellow, unfortunately. Love to have seen it end under green, but man, do have a first here tonight, though, Big Al. Nicholas Vroman. He is our winner here. First time in the ISCA Stock Car Association. Man, he is taking care of business out here.
Yeah, that definitely is. I mean, he set the bar pretty high for himself. That's all I'm going to say about that. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do for repeat performance.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you raise that up? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it was everything from pit strategy to just his sheer talent. I mean, he came out tonight, he qualified solid, did everything that he had to do, kept his car clean, and because of that, looks like he's going to get a big old plate of dough there, Brian. Sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit.
He ain't getting no regular old biscuits. He's getting some blueberry biscuits.
Absolutely. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will. Well, let's go ahead and run through the order real quick. Look like Nicholas Vroman was your winner, Matt DeCiani in second, Jeffrey Sousa third, Clayton Hoffman fourth, Mark Paget in the fifth, Greg Wachinski in sixth, Derek Heitman seventh, Joseph Lester eighth, J.C. Nabrega in ninth, and Brian Johnson in 10th.
Carl Dodson is going to be finishing in 11th place. 12th, Mark Sanchez. 13th, Jeff Barnes. 14th, Randy Drumhiller. 15th, Wayne Grossi. 16th, Paul Olson. 17th, Andrew Layton. 18th, Thomas O'Hara. 19th, Daniel Coelho. 20th, Andrew Greasebomb.
That's going to put Joey Preby in 21st, 22nd, Kenny Powell. 23rd, Josh Schaffner. 24th, Austin Story. 25, Derek Jacobs. 26th, Christy Johnson. 27th, Lucas Abreu. 28th, Jose Acosta. 29th, John Mullins. Well, with that rundown, let's go ahead and step away, get another word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with our post-race coverage.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and what a race it was here tonight. Definitely was exciting all the way through and through. We do have, I do believe, our third place finisher, Jeffrey Souza, here joining us here in the booth. Mr. Souza, I mean, you definitely had an up and down day. You were up throughout the field. Took some really interesting pit strategies early in the race. Found yourself up to third. I mean, are you surprised by this finish, or do you think that you maybe even had a chance for the victory?
From how the race started, I'd say I'm surprised. The qualifying, I was doing something, so by the time I jumped back in here to get it done, I was gonna probably be about 10th, and then it shut out right on coming off turn 3 there. So started in the back, got in that early incident there, got hit in the rear on that early accident, but had to really run that strategy, like you're saying, to get any sorts of track position. And once we got up here, we were able to keep it.
He definitely did exactly that. I mean, you guys were on point with that strategy. I mean, was that something that maybe you've tried out, maybe A Open or the NIS to do that pit right before, or you don't have stages in NIS? What kind of question is that? But is that something you kind of guys were planning to do, or?
So I ran an A Open the other day, and I was about how much I was behind there, about 5-6 seconds behind the leaders, and When I did pit, I was about, 7 or 8 seconds ahead of him at that point, and I was like, we were talking about it today before the race, and I said, I think we can do that in here today, just because of how short the stages were at the beginning. If we were that far back, there's no reason at that point not to, because you're not going to get stage points, and you're not going to get track position any other way. So that was the best choice for us to get up front, and I did it there in that first stage, and then Carl did it in that second stage to get him up there, so too.
Yeah, definitely was surprised to see Carl do as well as he did, considering he had damage earlier in this race. But you guys definitely always bring in the heat here. Are you glad to see Pocono in the rearview mirror, or are you kind of wish you maybe had another shot at it and maybe try to see if you can't get that victory?
As much as I love Pocono, this is one of my favorite tracks on the sim. With this package, it's just so difficult to pass. I was just telling them before I jumped up here to talk to you guys, and it's just so tough to pass. And you can be a tenth, 2/10 faster than somebody. If you don't get that help on the bottom or get to the guy's right rear quarter, you can't pass them. It's just you're stuck there, and you drop like a rock and lose 5 spots trying to make up one. So as much as I love the track, I'm happy we're moving on to Indy Road Course that I've never
That
taken
doesn't
any
sound.
laps on. So
Yeah, that does definitely not sound very fun. I mean, but I guess there's a little bit of a mixed message, mixed feelings, I guess, on the Indy Road Course. Definitely been seeing a lot of those road courses. So you don't feel very comfortable with that.
well, some of the ones we've run so far I've been to, so I kind of know them. But Indy Road Course, not turned one lap. I was telling them since IndyCar 2007, the video game. So I don't know what the track even looks like. I couldn't even tell you what turn is which. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to say the least.
That it will be. You better go ahead and get started now. If I were you, I'd go ahead and start turning some laps. I mean, knowing you, I mean, just the time I've known you, you definitely always you put your due diligence in. That's for sure. So I have no doubts. Even though you've never raced on that racetrack, we're going to see you probably do well there. But who can we shout out after this third place finish here tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank everybody at Triad. Brandon Pierce getting us a decent base this week. Carl made some really nice changes. After a few of the A opens we ran, we were lacking a little bit of pace, so he went to town on it. Made some crazy Carl moves to it, and we were really well. And then Susan Media, Stat Analyzer, Trust Me Vodka, everyone that just helps make the Triad team go. And they were up front last week. I ended up watching the broadcast after the fact, and it's good to see everybody up front. And we had cars to be up front today. Mark cut me a few breaks on some restarts there, but we were up front, the two of us, and then Carl was with us there too until he got shuffled out late. So it's good that everybody's running up front, and we're looking forward to the Indy.
We definitely are looking forward to it too. I know you guys always keep it very exciting in that Triad camp. We always love to watch you guys. But once again, congratulations on your third place finish, and we'll see you next week.
Jeff Ford, thank you guys.
That was Jeffrey Souza, our third place finisher here tonight. Next up, I do believe Big Al has Matt DeCiani waiting.
Hey, Matt DeCiani, Big Al, you got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, what a performance here. Looks like you guys qualified ninth. At the end of stage one there, you were second. You elected to kind of do a little tricky pit thing there for a position there, and that put you in a great position there for the second stage. So, what all went into your strategy for this race here tonight?
Yeah, I didn't have a great qualifying effort. I knew being on the edge there was potentially I was going to have to play some strategy at track position because, like Jeffrey said, track position here is almost better than a fast car, because it's just like you said, it's so hard to pass. But yeah, I mean, we got that caution in stage one, and then some guys were making some, I don't know, I'll call them questionable decisions on the restart, and I didn't really have a great restart gear. So I don't know, I was sitting like 12th, and I'm like, all right, the only way I can cycle to the front is, pit before that stage one ended. I got track position, and for the most part, I held it. I kind of screwed up stage two. I overdrove turn one and gave Clayton that stage two win. But yeah, I mean, it was a decent day.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely solidly was. You can't knock your performance on that at all. How many laps did you turn getting ready for this race here tonight?
I ran quite a few A Opens this week, and unfortunately, most of them were under yellow. Luckily, I did get into a couple of the coke splits early in the week, so I kind of had a good gauge of long run speed and how that was running. So that helped a ton. But that was Monday, and didn't really get much good racing. The last few days, unfortunately.
So next week we're headed into the Indy Road Course. Definitely a lot different from this track. Where are you thinking you're going to be sitting at next week this time?
Definitely think I got a shot at the road courses. I've been strong at every road course, this season. I've been in contention at least. So, there'll be strategy played. You just got to hit the right strategy and have enough speed to execute that strategy. But yeah, I love road course racing, so that'll be fun.
So you like road course racing, but what about the Indy course? You got a lot of any practice there? I mean, is it a strong suit, or you just kind of going to draw from the deck?
I mean, it's I don't know. It's similar to other road courses, but I mean, the layout's an old layout. It's not the current one that the Cup guys run on, so it's more of the old school layout. But I mean, it's an extremely flat road course for the most part. So drive off will be really important there.
All right, we'll be definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys can do, man. Before we let you go, who'd you like to give a shout out to this week?
Yeah, thanks to you, Big Al, Brian in the booth for calling the race, ButtKicker for sponsoring the series. Thanks to EPI for our setup. So then thanks to Derek who ran his first race with us tonight. We worked on our setup a lot, and it was pretty solid tonight. And then shout out to Nicholas Roman, first race here, got the win, and it's nice to see him join this league.
Yeah, well, congratulations again. You had to do it. Looks like you had a rocket underneath you for most of the evening, but it took your skills to get it done. So enjoy your second place finish, sir, and we'll talk at you soon.
Thank you.
That was Matt DeCiani. Definitely been on a string of successes here as of late. Definitely going to be looking to move up the points racket, that's for sure. Next up, we have Nicholas Vroman. Definitely going to be excited to talk to him, just considering his first race in the ISCA, and he wins it. I mean, what a message to send out there, man. Great job to you. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm pretty excited, to get the win here. Definitely know there's a lot of competition out there in the track. I've raced with a bunch of these guys before in the A Opens, so definitely no feat. And I definitely did not have the best car, man. I was Hoffman, so luckily pulled a little strategy and was able to get it done.
Yeah, it seemed like once you got that clean air, it was definitely very difficult for anybody to wrangle that from you. And you seemed like you had you were putting a master class on there for the restarts. I mean, you were able to pull 3 or 4 car links on those guys by the time y'all were entering turn 1. Do you think that's what kind of led to this victory here tonight?
Yeah, that was definitely a huge help. Clean air, like everybody else said so far, clean air here was just it's king. It's so hard to pass. You really got to get up on someone's door, side draft them, pull them back to be able to pull it off. So getting 4/10 down in turn 1 was definitely huge to be able to pull this off.
Yeah, it definitely seems like these cars side draft doesn't matter as much, but it still does matter definitely at a track like this. I mean, can you tell us, what is the difference of Gen 6 versus Gen 7? What do you think here at this track?
I feel like Gen 6 was a little more flat out. These got maybe enter a little faster. To be honest, I'm not too sure, but I feel like with these, I'm using a little more brake. I'll off the throttle a little longer, and it can be a little looser off of 3. But all in all, it's pretty close. It's not too different.
So you're able to definitely use some of that experience there with the Gen 6. Well, we're definitely glad that you joined this series and put on a show out here for us. 15 laps to go. I'll tell you what. I was saying it. I don't know. Nicholas could get his first win here tonight, and Big Al was like, "Are you gonna call it? Are you gonna call it? You gonna say he's gonna win the race?" And I said no. I think I should have said yes. Great job to you, man. How are you feeling? I know you're just getting started with us. You started out with the tricky triangle. Next week, road. Indy Road. I mean, that's going to be a whole different can of beans there.
Yeah, I may have ran that course like 6 years ago on the Xbox at one time, but I haven't touched it at one time since then. So it's gonna be interesting. If I get a top 10 out of that, I'll be stoked for that.
Definitely going to be tested here next week at Indy Road. Well, we definitely appreciate your time, man. Congratulations on your first start, first win here in the ISCA. Not a lot of people can say that, just considering the level of competition we have in this series. Who can we shout out for you here tonight, Nicholas?
Shout out to you guys up in the booth, man. Done a little broadcast in the bath. I know it can be a lot and can be fun. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to the league sponsor, I guess, ButtKicker, for sponsoring the league. Kenny for sending me the message today to get me in here. And everybody on track, man, I had a blast racing a lot of these guys. I raced with Matt and, Derek and a lot of these guys, quite often in A Open. So it was fun to, get racing side by side, good, aggressive, hard racing, but, still had the respect. So it was a lot of fun tonight.
Definitely was a lot of fun to watch. Well, we definitely appreciate your time, man. Look forward to talking to you next week, Nicholas.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That is Nicholas Vroman, our winner here tonight for the Napa 200, and what a race it was. Big Al, any final thoughts here?
Yeah, that was a long one, but it was definitely an exciting race. Congratulations to Mr. Vroman for definitely coming on into the league and actually putting on an awesome performance. Congratulations to all the drivers tonight. It was an awesome production, and thank you again, Brian, my assistant. Man, couldn't do it without you.
No problem. I say with contempt. Definitely was a great race here tonight. Action packed. I mean, we saw a lot of stints where it was very clean and green. We even got to see some green flag pit stops. Can't wait till Saturday. That's definitely going to be another good one. Definitely looking forward to that one for sure. Make sure you all tune in 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on that Saturday. Going to see some familiar faces and some new ones. And unfortunately, Derek Heitman is going to be over here on Thursday, so not going to see him on Saturday, unfortunately. But curious to see. I'd love to actually talk to him at some point and see what the difference is between the level of competition between the Saturday and the Thursday series. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that brings us to the conclusion of tonight's event. Big shout out to Napa for coming on board as our sponsor for the race, and also big shout out to ButtKicker. Definitely. I do believe we have some commercials in here to have the code in here. I think it's ISCA 20, so use that for a 20% discount. And thanks, everybody, for your time. We'll see you next time.